Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Skelly, and this is the Global Conversation. It's the seventh of our mini lectures for the spring semester 2011. It's been a very busy time for me, and I'm sure it has been for you. I've been reading all your posts and looking at the discussions about the learning circles. Number of things to tell you about in that regard. I looked through all of the discussions to date on the learning circles, and I noticed that two learning circles seem to have put together proposals so far, and I know you're all under pressure, so just relax. But I have a good idea for you if you want to take a look at it. In two of the learning circles, one of the members of the circle just took the initiative and put together the proposal and then floated it by everyone else. In learning circle number 2, you might take a look, that's the one on oil, coal, and old energy. You might take a look at what Joyce Merkel did. And Christina Harden did something very similar in learning circle number 3 on alternative energy sources. So take a look at what they did, and somebody just jump in, put it up there, and then you can work it out as you go along further over the next 5 weeks or so. And that's the best way to proceed. Somebody just has to jump in and take charge. So I'm delighted that Christina and Joyce were able to do that. But if somebody would take the lead in other learning circles, that would be very helpful as well. Now, one of the other things I wanted to mention to you is a couple of people have used the interactive tool, the National Carbon Calculator, that uses the United Kingdom as its example. But go ahead, we put together a forum for discussions about it, and go ahead and take a look at what it would take. You just move these little counters around, and you can see what would change national carbon emissions in the UK, but it also means something about your own individual behavior. So take a look at that, okay? I think you'll find it very educative. A couple of people have done it, and they certainly have had some very, very positive comments about it. I put it up now at the top of the course webpage. It says Interactive Tool, National Carbon Calculator. So take a look at that and then post your reflections on it, okay? Now, we're starting to shift into the second half of the class, but I must say, as usual, that I'm terribly impressed with the class discussions, the course discussions. One of them, and I want to read something for you from one of them. Renji Budalid posted a piece. He started a course discussion titled Perhaps a Dose of Inspiration. And what Renji did was to post a commencement address at the University of Portland from 2009, from the spring of 2009, by the environmental writer Paul Hawken. I highly recommend that you read this. A number of people have, and they've already been very inspired. And I have to say, both to Renji and to all of you, I was inspired as well. Let me read you just a little bit of it, because I think it really will capture your imagination, and it fits with our own sense of what we need to do. So here's Paul Hawken. Let me quote. Let's begin with the starting point. Let's begin with the startling part. Class of 2009, you are going to have to figure out what it means to be a human being on Earth at a time when every living system is declining and the rate of decline is accelerating. Kind of a mind-boggling situation, but not one peer-reviewed paper published in the last 30 years can refute that statement. Basically, civilization needs a new operating system. You are the programmers, and we need it within a few decades. This planet came with a set of instructions, but we seem to have misplaced them. Important rules like don't poison the water, soil, or air, don't let the earth get overcrowded, and don't touch the thermostat have been broken. Buckminster Fuller said that spaceship Earth was so ingeniously designed that no one has a clue that we are on one, flying through the universe at 1,000,000 miles per hour, with no need for seat belts, lots of room in coach, and really good food. But all that is changing. There is invisible writing on the back of the diploma you will receive, and in case you didn't bring lemon juice to decode it, I can tell you what it says. You are brilliant, and the Earth is hiring. The Earth couldn't afford to send recruiters or limos to your school. It sent you rain, sunsets, ripe cherries, night-blooming jasmine, and that unbelievably cute person you are dating. Take the hint. That's the end of the quote from Paul Hawken. I really recommend that you read all of it. Renji has posted it under a new course discussion titled Perhaps a Dose of Inspiration. I just spent a couple of days with Renji and the other students in Hungary, and I must say, again, I'm inspired by the diverse perspectives that come with that interesting group of students. It was a real pleasure to be with them. I wish I could meet all of you during the course of a semester, not always possible, but it was a pleasure to be with the students in Hungary. A number of interesting people, and as you can see, some of them are already very busy posting, etc. And this week is another busy week because many of us, including a number of students in this class, are off to Strasbourg, France, where we've organized an international student conference with students, American students studying in Europe and European students, looking at differences in European and U.S. environmental policy. It's going to be kicked off on this Friday night at the University of Strasbourg, and the keynote plenary is being given by the American Consul General in Strasbourg, Vincent Carver. He's going to have some interesting commentary provided by a number of people, one of whom I really recommend that you take a look at ChinaDialogue.net, because the editor of ChinaDialogue.net, Isabel Hilton, really a world-class journalist, is going to be commenting and giving her own talk on various environmental issues dealing with the United States, Europe, and China, about which she is expert. And one of the most interesting things, if you're looking at China Dialogue online, is that you will find a very interesting interview relevant to the fact that we're getting in, some of us are now getting into that section of the class that deals with economic issues and whether we could create an alternative ecological economics. And one of the interviews at ChinaDialogue.net is with Tim Jackson. Now, Tim Jackson is the author of a new book, which I picked up recently. I must say it's quite inspirational. It's titled Prosperity Without Growth. And it's all part of this need to rethink the most basic forms, the most basic structures that define our lives. And Tim Jackson is quite inspirational. Now, there's some good news this week, and again, I'll post you something on this, but one of the pieces of good news is that the European Union has voted to fundamentally alter its fishing policy, because the existing fishing policy has resulted in enormous amounts of what is called bycatch. Bycatch is the fish that are brought up along with the fish they're trying to catch, which are thrown back into the sea, mostly dead. And just in the North Sea alone, they throw about 1 million tons of fish back into the sea every year. It's really quite a horrific amount. You might take a look at that, and it is fantastic that the EU is finally, I must say, acting on this very, very important issue, because as some of you will know, especially if you see the film End of the Line, fish stocks all around the world are in trouble, and it's one of them that's in trouble. And this is especially significant for those of you who are studying at the University of San Francisco. One of the fish that's in trouble are sharks. Now, everybody thinks sharks are awful, but they're an important part of the ecosystem. That is, I think they're awful if you watch too many of the Jaws films, but sharks are actually really, really important. And what's happened, and this is again very interesting, is that the California state legislature is about to ban the importation of shark fins. Now, this is an Asian and especially Chinese delicacy, but one of the results of China's increasing economic wealth has been that more and more people want this delicacy called shark fin soup, and they want it too in California, where there's a significant Asian population. So this is causing a big cultural versus ecological debate in California. There's a New York Times article about it today. And one of the reasons behind the legislature's action is that there are an estimated 10,000, that's the low figure. The New York Times suggests that it may be as much as twice that number. There are as many as 10,000 sharks per day who are killed just for their fin, and then the shark is thrown back into the sea to die. 10,000 per day. So you may want to take a look at that article. I'll post it to you with the email that I send out in response to the posting of this lecture. A couple of other things. One is one of the students, Charles from Cameroon in Hungary, was talking about the fact that there's a move on now in Cameroon to something that many people see as positive, to create palm plantations, because palm oil is being used as biofuel. Now, I was just looking at something on the Irish National Broadcaster earlier, because we have a new government in Ireland, and I came across, it's about 25 minutes into the video, a discussion by Anne Enright, who's an Irish writer, who was invited down to Honduras to take a look at what's happening to peasant farmers as big palm oil producers try to push them off the land so that they can produce more palm oil. You might take a look. The video is about 7 or 8 minutes, and you might find yourself moved to discuss this or to use it in one of the Learning Circle projects. And oil prices are going, as you undoubtedly have been aware if you're paying attention, because of the crises in North Africa, especially in Libya currently. Oil prices are rising, and so consequently many people are looking to alternative energy sources. Some of that may be very positive, but it's a debate worth keeping your eye on, because people who otherwise didn't, wanted to keep using fossil fuels are starting to say, hey, maybe this isn't such a good idea after all. So you might want to keep your eye on that. And finally, another energy-related issue. I'm assuming that almost everybody in this class is on Facebook. And what I would suggest is that you take a look at the Greenpeace campaign designed to get Facebook to use green energy. Now, Facebook is just opening a big computer data center where all of your personal information will be kept. They're creating a big, I think it's $180 million facility in a remote part of Oregon, the state of Oregon in the western United States. And, it's all supposed to be state-of-the-art equipment, low energy usage, etc., etc. But the energy sources for all that equipment are still going to be coal, which for the most part is a pretty nasty carbon emitter. And so what you want to do is there's a Facebook campaign to get Facebook to instead shift towards green energy. And since you're all members of that wonderful community, I would urge you to take a look at it and possibly join it if you'd like. That's all I have for this week. Good luck with the learning circles. And again, as I suggest, someone just take charge, just like Joyce and Christina did, and see if you can't put something together. You'd be surprised how many other people will be relieved that you've taken action. Okay? Good luck with everything, and I will try to post to you from Strasbourg. I'm not going to be back from Strasbourg until very late on Monday the 14th, but we'll see if we can't put something together for you from the conference in Strasbourg. All the best.